What happens if the Chris Watts case actually gets reopened, and the one person the internet won't stop talking about is finally investigated with no shield, no favors, and no shortcuts? Because here's the question that won't die. When there's a new district attorney in 2029, will that finally be the moment Nichol Kessinger is scrutinized the way people have begged for since day one? Welcome back to True Crime After Dark. Tonight, we're going deeper than we've ever gone, into the rumors, the claims, and the uncomfortable gaps that millions say were ignored. We'll talk about why so many believe the case should be reopened, what a new DA could actually do, and why Chris is now hinting that the whole truth would involve more people than just him. We will keep this grounded and fair, but we're not looking away. If you are deep into this case and Nichol Kessinger's involvement, please take a minute to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell, because we will have many more updates like these in the future. Okay, so let's be clear before we begin. Chris Watts committed the worst crimes imaginable. He murdered his pregnant wife, Shanann, and their daughters, Bella and Celeste. He pled guilty. He was sentenced. Nothing about tonight changes that. He is responsible for their deaths. That is the bedrock fact. And yet, here we are, years later, because a storm of new chatter, prison whispers, digital deep dives, and relentless community research won't let this story rest. Not while there are still questions. Take a breath. We're going in. I want you to picture two paths. On the first path, the case remains exactly where it is, frozen in time, with the same public narrative, the same unanswered questions, and the same bitterness about who was investigated, and who many believe wasn't. On the second path, a new district attorney steps in. 2029 becomes a line in the sand, and what was once politically untouchable becomes fair game to re-examine. Timelines, devices, third-party communications, immunity decisions, and alleged deleted messages. On that second path, we find out what's true, and what never was. So why do so many insist Nichol must be re-investigated? Not to shift blame off Chris, again he's responsible, but to resolve something that has felt unfinished. Let's zoom back for a moment. In the official story, Chris acted alone. He admitted it. He described the murders. He gave unspeakable details. End of story, legally. But outside the courtroom, an entire ecosystem of researchers, YouTubers, podcasters, and documentarians kept finding smoke. Digital gaps, phone pings, odd timelines, missing messages, inconsistencies, some small, some major, surrounding the other person at the center of this tragedy. Nichol. And here's where I'm going to be absolutely clear and fair. Much of what we're about to discuss comes from open source research, public documents, interviews, and analysis by citizens. Some of it is verified. A lot is unverified, speculative, or disputed. You will hear the words allegedly, claims, and reported, because that's the responsible way to handle this. We can explore claims without pretending they're facts. We can demand better investigation without declaring guilt. That's the standard tonight. Let's talk about the core claims the community keeps circling. First, the allegation that Nichol had inconsistent statements about the timing and depth of her relationship with Chris. Viewers point to moments in interviews where specifics seemed to shift. What she knew about his marital status, how far along their relationship was, when she learned certain things, and what she did with that information. No, inconsistencies don't equal guilt. But in a homicide investigation, inconsistencies are red flags you chase until they're resolved. Many feel they weren't. Second, the digital question marks, calls, texts, data gaps, and the idea that alternate or hidden messaging apps may have been used. Online researchers argue that if you truly want the full picture of any modern conspiracy or cover-up, you don't just look at the main phone logs. You hunt for parallel channels, secondary SIMs, encrypted apps, vault folders, auto-delete settings, private mode caches. The allegation is simple. A surface-level review was performed when a deep forensic trawl was needed. Again, allegation, not proof. But in 2025, that's the difference between kind of checked and exhaustively verified. Third, the doorbell cam storyline. The claim goes like this. A car resembling hers was briefly visible the morning of the murders, aligning with a controversial phone ping near the Watts home. Supporters of this theory argue the two data points together at least demand rigorous reconciliation. What car was that exactly? What timestamp? Which device pinged, and how precisely was its location resolved? Could a routing or tower handoff error explain it, or not? These are technical questions. They deserve technical answers. If those answers exist, show them. If they don't, find them. That's what reopen the case means to a lot of people. Not to relitigate Chris's guilt, but to close the technical loopholes and finally turn maybe into known. Fourth, the immunity and protection rumor mill, including the viral claim that Nichol's father is or was connected to Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and that influence insulated Nichol from meaningful scrutiny. Here's the responsible line. That claim is widely circulated online and hotly disputed. I'm not presenting it as fact. What I am saying is this. When a significant share of the public believes a powerful connection helps someone sidestep normal pressure, the legitimate response is transparency. Sworn statements, documented conflict of interest checks, and a clear chain of custody on investigative decisions. If there was no special treatment, prove it publicly and comprehensively. End the rumor by out-documenting it. Fifth, police missteps, perception versus reality. It's unfair to pretend homicide investigations are neat. They're chaotic. But it's also fair to say certain choices still bother people. Was every relevant device imaged? Were every third-party communications platform subpoenaed? Were contradictory statements re-interviewed until reconciled? Were rumors of data deletion fully tested with forensic recovery software? If the answer to all of that is yes, and here's the proof, put the proof front and center. If the answer is, we did what we thought was sufficient, many believe that isn't enough anymore, not when public trust is on the line. Now let's layer in the current spark. Chris hinting from prison that if he tells the whole truth, it would involve more people than just him. Does that instantly make other people guilty? No. He is a confessed family annihilator. Everything he says must be interrogated, not adopted. But here's the logic. If a convicted offender is dangling the idea of co-involvement or orchestration, that's precisely the moment a DA's office says, "Fine, prove it. Give us names, devices, dates, apps. We'll test every claim. If you're lying, it dies here. If you're not, we'll find out." And that takes us straight to 2029. Why is everyone suddenly talking about the next district attorney? Because a new DA can bring new priorities, new eyes, and a fresh willingness to reopen lanes that were politically radioactive the first time. A new DA isn't bound to the old narratives. They can convene a review panel, pull in independent forensic auditors, and re-subpoena service providers. They can ask the blunt questions. Did we do everything we would do today with the tools we have now? If the answer is no, they can fix it. If the answer is yes, they can publish the receipts and finally put certain rumors to bed. Let's walk through an intelligent, evidence-first roadmap for what a responsible reopening or review might look like. One that neither protects nor persecutes Nichol, but simply finds the truth. Step 1. Device reconvergence. Every known device in the orbit, phones, secondary phones, tablets, laptops, full forensic imaging, including unallocated space, deleted artifacts, and app-level caches. Repeat anything done years ago with 2025-level tools, and have an outside lab mirror the work to certify findings. Step 2. Communications matrixing. Build a unified timeline of calls, texts, app messages, and OS-level notifications across all involved parties for a defined window. Weeks before, day of, days after. Cross-validate carrier logs with device artifacts and app server returns. Look for gaps, pattern irregularities, and known behaviors of ephemeral apps. auto-delete intervals, screenshot suppression, etc. If an app is rumored, subpoena the provider. If the provider is foreign or defunct, document the ceiling of recoverability and say it out loud. Step 3. Location integrity. Re-examine pings, tower handoffs, Wi-Fi associations, vehicle telemetry, and video sources. Where claims exist, a car seen on a doorbell cam, retime sync with atomic clock standards, cross-check field of view, pixel mapping, model matching, and light angle. If a car could be misidentified, say so. If it can't, say that. Kill ambiguity with over-documentation. Step 4. Interview reconciliation. Where statements conflict, bring witnesses back with counsel. Ask the same questions granularly. Tie each assertion to a corroborating artifact. If a statement deviates, document why, memory correction, updated knowledge, or deliberate change. Put those deltas on paper. Publish what is publishable. Step 5. Conflict of interest audit. Sweep for familial or professional connections that could have bent decision-making. If none exist, great. Show the paper trail. If any do, show how they were firewalled. The public doesn't need perfection. It needs proof of integrity. Step 6. Public transparency packet. When it's done, release a detailed plain language report that explains what was checked, what wasn't possible, what rumors died, and which questions, if any, remain. Rip the mystery out by overpowering it with clarity. Now let's talk motives, because people always ask, if Nichol lied, why? The spectrum runs from benign to sinister. On the benign end, embarrassment, fear of public hatred, protecting a career. On the sinister end, foreknowledge, orchestration, or cleanup. I'm not here to tell you which is true. I'm here to say the only way to settle it is to test every story against artifacts, not feelings. If she's innocent of anything beyond terrible judgment, a rigorous re-examination can actually clear her more powerfully than silence ever has. And if she's not, if there's more there, then justice has a second chance to do what it missed. You've also asked a pointed question. If Chris ever helped the FBI, what could he possibly get out of it? Realistically, safer housing, reduced gang exposure, limited privileges, or simply the narcissistic satisfaction of controlling the narrative again. None of that makes his claims true. It just explains why he might talk. And that, once again, is why you don't accept or reject his claims on emotion. You test them. You demand verifiable specifics and you chase them down. Let's pause on the police messed up idea. I'm going to be fair and tough at the same time. Investigations unfold in real time, with imperfect information. The team had a confession from the offender that triages resources fast. But a confession doesn't cancel the duty to map all lanes. In a case this consequential, optics matter. When the public sees speed with one person and grace with another, it breeds distrust. The fix isn't defensiveness, it's humility and transparency. Here's what we did. Here's what we missed. Here's what we're doing now. And then there's the community, you, pushing petitions to reopen the case, or at least to reinvestigate Nichol. Critics roll their eyes at petitions. I don't. Petitions are a pressure signal. They don't convict anyone. They tell officials where trust is broken. They say, show your work. If the next DA is smart, they'll treat that not as a nuisance, but as an opportunity to reset the narrative with evidence. So where does this leave us? It leaves us with a path that honors the victims and respects due process. A path that doesn't excuse a murderer, but doesn't ignore lingering questions. A path that stops rewarding rumor with silence and starts ending rumor with documentation. If the case is reopened or formally reviewed, here's what I expect. A lot of online theories will die when tested, and maybe a few troubling findings will survive. Either outcome is better than what we have now, because what we have now is a wound that never closes. And to the claim that Nichol had protection, even from family connections or institutional favoritism. If that's false, a transparent audit can prove it false. If there were shortcuts, a courageous office can admit them and fix them. Both roads lead to the same destination: credibility. Chris Watts destroyed a family. He shattered a world. He will die in prison. That part of the story is closed, but the story of who knew what, when, and whether the public has been given every answer they deserve may not be closed at all. In 2029, a new district attorney will have a choice: inherit an old narrative or interrogate it. If they choose interrogation, here's what I want to see: independent digital forensics with publishable methods, subpoena-grade timeline reconciliations, clarified doorbell video analyses, a full accounting of messaging platforms, and a conflict of interest review with every dotted I and crossed T. Then publish. All of it. If Nichol is innocent of any role, let the evidence shout it down louder than any rumor ever could. And if she isn't, if there's more to the story, then let justice finish the job it started and missed. You've heard the rumors, you've read the petitions, you've watched the prison whispers morph into headlines, then back into shadows. Tonight, I'm asking for something simpler than outrage and more powerful than speculation. I'm asking for proof. Tell me in the comments, should the next DA reopen the case and formally re-examine Nichol's timelines, devices, and messages? If Chris really is ready to tell the whole truth, what conditions should be required? Names, dates, apps, artifacts, before anyone believes a word? And most of all, do you believe transparency can finally heal a case this broken? Or do you think too much time has passed? This is True Crime After Dark. Thank you for being brave enough to demand better answers. For Shanann, for Bella, for Celeste, and for the truth, whatever it is and whoever it touches.